This is Justin Bieber, and when I'm not busy harassing Selena Gomez, I'm listening to David Bowers on the David Bowers Awards, right here on Blog Talk Radio.
Big Rock Radio. That's a band from Denver, Colorado. They call themselves Love Stallion. And here to talk with us about Love Stallion is Aaron. Come on in here and say hello, Aaron.
Hey, how are you?
Doing okay. How about yourself?
I'm doing awesome.
Good to have you here. Good to have you here with us. Thank you for sharing your music and your time. This track we just played, Big Rock Radio. Now, that's from your debut album, right?
Yeah, Unforgettable Ride, just released in June.
Absolutely, and I was listening to a couple of the tracks. We're going to play another track off from it after we talk with you. But I was noticing you get some pretty heavy creds on that. You worked with Steve Avedis, who's a major recording engineer producer in Denver, and has been. He's worked with a lot of big names: Tony Bennett, Kenny Rogers, Peter Cater, among others. How'd you hook up with him in the first place?
Yeah, so my my vocal coach, Dr. Scott Martin, Doc's been kind of an industry pro here in Denver for over 30 years. Had been working with Doc for several years, and him and Steve go way back, I think, to the early 80s. They've been buds since then. So he connected us, and Steve's kind of, just like Doc, kind of became like family pretty quickly. Was awesome to work with, and he's at Colorado Sound there, just north of Denver.
Awesome. That is a great connection to make anytime, but especially for your debut album. Now, I'm sure there are many of our listeners that aren't really familiar with you because you haven't been a national name for a period of time, but tell us a little bit about the origin of the band and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, so Big Rock Radio is actually one of the first tracks we wrote. Rob and I, who founded the band, he's the guitarist. We were at a concert and outside taking a break, getting a beer, kind of talking about what would our ultimate dream band be. And it was to kind of bring back that arena rock, big rock sound of, late 70s, 80s, Van Halen, David Lee Roth, Def Leppard, that sort of thing. And so we were actually kind of by the bathroom, I remember, drinking our beers and singing some of those ideas into the phone.
That's really the place to be drinking, is right by the men's room. It's a short trip from there.
Yeah, I don't think we were right. I don't remember how close we were. We had popped an edible beforehand, so we were in a real creative space and just kind of floating about. So yeah, we actually originally named the band Big Rock Radio just as kind of, we wanted to have this kind of amalgamation of all the best elements of the arena rock that we've been listening to for so long.
Right, sure.
And then actually our first single off the record, Slow Release, we kind of, that was the second song that we were singing into our phones that night. So, after that it was, and I had Doc's info for a minute, so I'd called him the next day, started taking some kind of vocal and performance lessons, and Rob and I started writing the record. And the Love Stallion, which you see today, has just been kind of I think kind of similar to Queen's origin story, is it just kind of took on a life of its own, and we kept adding until we had this glitzy, glamorous, sparkly project that you see now.
Fantastic. And being able to hook up with an Emmy Award-winning producer of Gold Records to start your career, or at least your album career with, is fantastic. I know there was one magazine, Vince Magazine, said that your new album, Unforgettable Ride, is, I think they said, definitely one of the more unforgettable rock releases in recent memory, which is pretty high praise when you come right down to it. Yeah,
we've been of course, every musician thinks their music is good, but we've just been blown away by all the positive feedback and reviews of the album. Everyone's really loving it.
Oh, that is really fantastic. And the other track that you just mentioned, Slow Release, is the one that we're going to be playing after we've had a chance to talk with you for a while. Now, I understand that you're looking to do some touring here.
Yeah, that's kind of the next step. You know, it took recording sure takes a lot out of you, and kind of building the performance, and so we finally feel like we've kind of got most of our ducks in the row, and can start planning some mini tours at least for next year. We want to definitely get out to the Midwest and California and Southwest. Yeah, it's kind of always been the dream since I was a kid, was the touring rock star.
Well, from what I'm hearing from people in the Denver area that have seen you, you guys have a pretty good start on that. And I want you to tell us, if you would please, about this this sexy disco legs thing.
So there's actually a pair of those hang in my family room. I thankfully have 10-foot ceilings. They hang right in the middle of my family room. So they, gosh, long story. I went to, back in 2013 or 14, I went to an EDM festival in California, and I saw kind of a version of it, and asked the venue where they got it, and someone had just kind of made it themselves. And so in my quest to buy a pair just to have at home where I normally hung my disco ball, I ended up having to kind of create it myself. And so anyway, had a bunch of those made, and that then morphed into actually bringing a couple pairs of those on stage with us. And we kind of came up with the quote, "the next generation disco ball," because they're truly about 5 feet tall and about 2 feet wide. And we our joke on stage is that they were modeled after my legs. They put me in a harness and dipped me in hot wax, and those are my legs. So it's kind of become somewhat of Love Stallion lore to have the sexy disco legs, and people love coming up to see them up close when we play a show. And they certainly, yeah, it's kind of cool. It's very asymmetrical refraction of light, or reflection of light, unlike the disco ball. It's kind of asymmetrical and gives a cool vibe to the stage.
Right, and for the listeners who haven't had the pleasure of seeing this yet, you will see that. Let's see, you've got that. I know you've got it on your Facebook page. I think you've got it on your website too, don't you?
Yeah, we've got it all. We even a buddy of mine helped. He actually shot a video, so we put a video of it on YouTube, and that's actually my family room, so people can get the details and the close-ups of what it is, along with a little disco track in the background.
Fantastic, and that's hey, it's a great thing. You've got yourself a good, solid fan base. You've got a good handle on what you're doing and where you're going. You got a clever image and attention-getting device. You got a pretty good a pretty good package there. And of course, you've hooked up with an old friend of ours, Michael at MTS Management in Los Angeles. He's doing what? Doing your publicity and promotion?
Yeah, Michael's been incredible to work with. Just super sharp guy, really knows what he's doing, delivers on what he says he's going to do. So yeah, he's been helping getting the word out on the record, and we've just been blown away at just working with him, but also the people we've met through him.
Now, my question for you, Aaron, this is John, is, listening to the music here, and as David likes to point out almost every week, is that sometimes he purposely does not let me preview the music because he wants an honest opinion and reaction. And, my opinion and reaction is all positive to your stuff. You have, at least in my own opinion, a distinct 70s rock and roll sound, late 70s rock sound, glam sound, call it what you will. What I want to know is what bands of that era influenced you guys to create this sound that you have?
Good question. Yeah, so Rob and I share a lot of the same influences, but I'd say the biggest ones would be Van Halen. I think that comes through quite a bit on the Big Rock Radio track, and same with Slow Release. Def Leppard, definitely. Kiss. Kiss is one of our all-time favorite bands, just kind of the real hooky, catchy, riff rock sound. Little bit of Rat in there, and then kind of the gang vocals of Leppard and Van Halen. So yeah, I'd say those are kind of the big four that we.
It's because it's funny to me. I mean, I'm hearing the Kiss sound, yes, absolutely, but I was kind of waiting for the mention of another band that you haven't yet, because to me, I heard a very heavy influence from Boston. In your sound there, and the Def Leppard and the Rat and all that stuff, and Van Halen certainly. But to me, the two heaviest influences to me in listening to your music was Boston and Kiss. And what say you to that, sir?
I got the Boston influence out of that track we just played. Yes.
Yeah, Rob's definitely into Boston. He wrote the riff to Big Rock Radio. So I guess he isn't here to speak for himself, but we've definitely heard that comparison plenty of times.
Yeah, it's definitely you definitely get that feel there, especially through the riff in the song. I noticed that too, and I'm glad you brought that out, John. So. Tell us, if you would, Aaron, what's next on the line? Are you going right now? Are you headed into touring? You got some other stuff planned? What's on tap for Love Stallion?
So Rob and I are just busy writing some new tunes. We're going to have a good catalog for when we get on the road. We're prepping now to do another music video. We did one for Slow